What is going on, traders? We got a lot to discuss, but before we start, like, subscribe, comment your thoughts below. Let's get into the video. So, in the last few videos, I've been warning about this move. I've been saying to be very cautious, okay? Something does not look right. The market looks very sketchy. I did not like the move that we got Wednesday to the upside. It happened way too fast and way too little time. And it turns out we were right. Okay, we were right. And right now we are looking at the NQ daily time frame and we broke below our channel. We are officially closed below our channel. Now the NQ is still going, but it only has like an hour, 2 hours left. An hour or two left before it actually closes, and I can't imagine us just recovering back into this channel by then. Okay, so things are not looking good across the market, and I've been warning this. If you're new to the channel and you're wondering what YouTube channel and you're wondering what I'm talking about as far as this rising channel goes, for weeks, months, years, we've been trading within this channel on a daily time frame as far as the NQ goes. You don't believe me? We rejected here, we rejected all in this area here, we rejected up here, we attempted to break out here, bulls got trapped, and then bear stepped in and broke us down. We bounced here, we bounced here, we bounced here, and up here is when I was pretty much saying I believe the top is in, and even down here I felt like there was a near term bottom. Now, I did expect more upside when we got down here, a little bit more upside, at least to 20K, but we just failed to get there and we have broken down completely. So the next question is, how far can we go from here? Right now, I'm looking at 18K, between 18,100, 18K. Lowest I'm looking at is about 17,800, 17,600 range, which is right within this weekly supply and demand zone. And you're going to see this across a few things that I'm going to go over. So, as far as a bottom go, there's really no telling what a bottom is, where the bottom is. But what I will say is that the measured move for this channel, and is not guaranteed, but the measured move for this channel is all the way down to 16K on the NQ. All right. Now, there is talks about a recession and things like that. I'm no expert in that, but I wouldn't be surprised that we are in a recession. I honestly think we've been in a recession the whole time. I don't think this is shocking to anyone, really. So that could play a part into this drop further down. And as far as how far we can go, you'll have to play it by ear or play it by video if you choose to follow my channel. So 18K is the first target I'm looking at. Now, what I will say is that I do expect some type of bounce, a dead cat bounce, maybe sometime, most likely sometime this week, if anything. And what I will say, and I've been saying this in the Discord, that we could bounce from 18,000, between 18,000, 17,800. We bounce there, we revisit 19K, and we want to see us get back into this channel. That's what we want to see if we are bullish, okay? We want to get back into this channel, get a close above 19K, and then there is potential to start heading higher from there. Otherwise, if we don't do that, then we're just simply going to reject and possibly head lower. Now, I will make this clear, okay? I will make this clear that this is a weekly supply and demand zone, a very, very strong zone. We look at the ES. The ES is right now at its weekly supply and demand zone down here. This is a weekly supply and demand zone up here. We had our little rally Wednesday. We bounced all the way up here, and then eventually we rejected this weekly supply and demand zone. So if we do get a dead cat bounce, I wouldn't be surprised it comes off this weekly supply and demand zone down here, and we potentially somewhat either we start to break in here, we hit this area of turbulence between 5300 5280 range, and then we potentially bounce from there, get our dead cat bounce, and then we start to, I guess, somewhat rally higher, creating our lower high. Okay, and then we start to reject from there. Okay, so as far as the lower high goes, just in case you guys need some type of example here, this will be our first lower high right here. Then we have our lower high here, and then I'm expecting some type of retest back to the upside as far as the ES go, and we get another lower high, and then we start to head towards our lower low. Okay, so that is what I am looking at as far as the ES. Do I believe we are going to head much lower than this weekly supply and demand zones? Really tough to say, but I honestly wouldn't be surprised it does happen. We do have somewhat of a gap down here. I would call this a fair value gap, if anything. So that is possible that we fill this at around 50,000, no, 50. 5,100. I keep saying 50,000. 5,100. So somewhere around 5,100 is possible, but as long as we are within or above this weekly supply and demand zone, we are still we're somewhat safe. I wouldn't say completely safe because we broke out of this channel, but we're still somewhat safe. Okay, I will say that much. So we are above a very important level. Let's look at the triple Qs. So the triple Qs looks the same. I mean, it just looks really, really bad. Right now, the triple Qs look like it can head as low as about 438, 440 range. Maybe head towards this gap fill around 420, 427, 430 range before we potentially bounce. I know that sounds crazy, but I mean, I keep calling these targets, and people call me crazy all the time. Traders call me crazy all the time, and I have yet to been proven wrong. So it looks like we can head lower here. Okay. Triple Qs, we broke below our channel here. We bounced here. We bounced here. And then we eventually broke down. Okay. We gapped down actually. But again, I wouldn't be surprised sometime next week, maybe Monday. I'm not really counting on Monday, but it is possible that maybe Monday we get our dead cat bounce. I'm more so thinking in the middle of the week where we somewhat head down here around 438, 440 range, potentially bounce. We start to fill this gap up here at around 460. We get somewhat of a rally. We create our lower high, and then we break further down. Okay, if you need a visual example of that, right here, boom, you got your high here. Well, let's start up here. You got your high here, you got your lower high here, and then you will be creating another one right here at the retest of this channel and supply and demand zone. So that is what I'm expecting. All right. So if you do see somewhat of a bounce or for lack of better wording, a rally next week, take it with a grain of salt. Obviously, make your money, make your profit. I'm all for it. But take whatever rally you get with a grain of salt. It could be simply a retest and a lower high. At some point, we need to create a lower high before we break down. Otherwise, we are actually looking at a crash if we don't continue, if we don't create a lower high and we just continue down. All right. So I will say that much. I don't believe we're going to get a crash. I still don't believe we're going to get a crash. I think this is just a very, very, very nice correction. Okay. I will say that much. Looking at the SPY. So the SPY is pretty much holding 528 range. If SPY breaks below 528, it's heading towards that 525 level. Right now, it's pretty much in the middle of Narnia. I will say if the SPY can get back above, am I looking at? Oh, okay, I'm looking at the daily time frame. So if the SPY can manage to get back above 540, there is hope there. I'm not really counting on it, but if the SPY can get back up here at around 540, above 540, I would say, then there is potential for a move back to 547. Me personally, I don't think that's going to happen. It is on the table, but I don't think it's going to happen. So what I will say is the SPY can head short term towards 525. All right. In the Discord, we are in 510 puts for September 20th, I want to say. So yeah, we are in SPY puts. I do believe the SPY is going to head much lower. I have a price target of 504, but we'll play it by ear. I'm not looking to hold our puts all the way until that target, so I just want to make that clear. People tend to ask me all the time, do you just wait all the way into these targets? No, it just gives you an idea on where we could potentially go. And if you do decide to like maybe trim some contracts, pay yourself, and maybe you want to hold one contract, that target is possible. Okay. But usually I never hold into my targets. Once I make about a good 1K, whatever the case may be, I am pretty much out the play. Or I wouldn't say make 1K, but like 40%, 50% plus, I'm pretty much out the play at that point. Otherwise, looking at the SPY, again, I think it can head much lower. Right now, I'm looking at 525. I still wouldn't be surprised we get a dead cat bounce. So if we do head lower, 525 will be my first target. After that, I'm looking at about 520, 518 range before maybe we get a dead cat bounce. Now, what do we know about Mondays? We know that Mondays usually mirror Fridays, right? So I expect Monday to pretty much repeat what happened today. Now, it may not be as dramatic. The market does need to cool down. We had 2 days of nothing but downside, so I do imagine the market will want to cool down. So maybe we just consolidate to the downside, or we may get somewhat of a bounce towards the end of the day Monday. That is possible, but otherwise, I'm not expecting anything too crazy Monday unless we get absolutely insane news over the weekend. So I will say that much. Now, looking at the SPY, I will say that you really want to be careful here. We are pretty much in the middle of nowhere. We sure we're in this turbulence area, and I do think we just filled this gap. Actually, we filled this gap at around 528, so there is potential to bounce here. But if we hit 540, I said this in the Discord, I would say 540, highest 547. If we can get that bounce, I would definitely be adding to my SPY puts, 100%. 100%, no doubt in my mind, I will be adding to my SPY puts. Right now, I only have one contract. I didn't go in heavy because I am aware that that retest of 540 is possible. Okay, so keep that in mind. Um, I'm just going to consider it a dollar cost average. Bitcoin just dropped like crazy and then recovered. But yeah, that's what I'm looking at as far as the SPY. Let's actually look at Bitcoin since it did like do a crazy drop real quick and then it started to recover. I told you guys in the last few videos that I am bearish on Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin is going to head much lower. My first target right now is about 60K. We're pretty close to that target. I said once it rejects 65K, it's going to head towards 60K, and it looks like that's what it wants to do. After 60K, I'm looking at a move to 58K, and then after that, you already know that I am looking at as low as 52K on Bitcoin. I am looking much lower, but we'll talk about that if we get to that 52K target. For now, we're going to play conservative and focus on the first few targets that I've talked about, which is 60K, 58, 57K range, and then 52K. Okay, so that's what I'm looking at for Bitcoin. Right now, we are in a coin play, currently in profit on the play. We got in at around 210 on coin. We did 190 puts. We did a lot of puts actually. We did 190 puts, we did 170 puts, we took profit on the 170 puts, and then we also did 180 puts. So everything on coin so far is in profit. So congratulations if you did take profit on the 170 puts. Coin is pretty much following Bitcoin. It's plain and simple. There's really nothing much to discuss here. Coin is going to follow Bitcoin. As you guys can see, let me actually clear this up a bit for you guys. But as you guys can see, coin pretty much broke below this channel. It broke below a lot of levels, to be clear here. It broke below a lot of levels here. So let's look at this channel that I've been talking about. And I think I talked about this in the last video. But we broke below this channel. We filled this gap and then we just continue down. Like usually we bounce off gaps. So I am surprised by that. But yeah, we just continued further down. And once we broke below this channel, you guys see on 4 hour time frame, we broke below, we retested the channel, and then around 510 is when we entered. Well, we actually added contracts at around 518. Once we entered at 510, it bounced back up to about 518, 520 range, and then we added more contracts. I alerted to add more contracts at around 518, 517. So congratulations on Coin. I think Coin first target is obviously 200. It already bounced off 200, so that target is out the way. I gave the option to take profits for small accounts and anybody else that wanted to take profits. I didn't give the option to take profits once it hit 200 because I imagined it was going to bounce from there. And I think coin is going to head much lower. Right now, my next target is about 190, 188 range, which is right at the supply and demand zone. Let's get a better view. Look at the daily time frame. So right here, at this daily supply, I mean not daily. This is actually a weekly supply and demand zone. So right here is where I'm looking at. Between 190 and 170 is what I'm looking at as far as coin. I do think it can head much lower than that, especially if Bitcoin does hit that 52K target or even lower than that. There's a lot of gaps to the downside on coin, and obviously, I think coin is way overpriced. I don't think it deserves to be at this price. That's just me personally. I don't see Coinbase being at this price. I think it's way overvalued. But that's just me. That's my opinion. Do what you want with that information. Let's look at Meta. So Meta, we are in our 450 puts. Meta just doesn't look good. Okay, it doesn't look good. I've been saying this for a while now. Meta just looks absolutely terrible. Okay, so what happened with Meta here? Meta had great earnings, sure, but it still looked bearish. Right after earnings, it pretty much rejected and broke below this weekly supply and demand zone, and then it's currently just wicking all over the place. Regardless of how that the wicks are, you look at the 4 hour time frame. Right now, it is breaking below this channel right here, this trend right here, and I think it's simply going to head much lower. We are in 450 puts on Meta. We got in at around 495, 498 range. Currently in profit on this play. Gave the option to take profits to the Discord as well. So yeah, Meta looks absolutely bearish. I think it's just going to continue lower. Um, you look at the daily time frame here, it looks like it just simply retested this trend and this weekly supply and demand zone. I don't know if you guys can see this wick here, but we wicked, which was earnings right here. We wicked all the way to the top of this weekly supply and demand zone at around 530. We rejected, and then we ended up right back outside this channel. Simple retest. Meta's going to go lower, in my opinion. Do what you want with that information. Um, what else? Let's look at Tesla. So I told you guys Tesla, one of my price targets on Tesla was 207. So congratulations if you followed that play. I know someone commented on one of my YouTube videos saying they got into Tesla. So absolutely great play. You guys already know I made about a good 1700 off my last video I showed you guys. 1700 in one day is absolutely insane. We did 220 puts on Tesla. Kind of wish I held some contracts over into today because I was pretty confident that it was going to head to at least 213. And I told you guys my price target was 207. I said this in the last few videos that I think Tesla's going to head towards 207. And right now we are pretty much there. We actually got much lower than that. So I do think Tesla is going to head much lower. I'm looking at that 194 target right now. So I do think Tesla can head much lower. Do what you want with that information. Let's look at Netflix. So I told you guys one of my price targets for Netflix is 600. It still stands on the table. I think Netflix is going to head lower. 600 and then 580 is what I'm looking at as my lowest target for Netflix. So yeah, as you guys can see, we go to our daily time frame. We go to our daily time frame. And yeah, looks absolutely bearish. It broke below this rising wedge channel, and boom, we're heading lower. Okay, simple as that. Honestly, wouldn't be surprised the market gaps down Monday, so be on the lookout for that. But yeah, otherwise, Netflix look bearish. Do what you want with that information as well. Let's look at Apple real quick. So Apple is one of the few stocks that actually looks bullish. Right now, we have an inverted hammer pattern on the daily time frame. So this is a bullish signal right here. Apple looks like it could potentially want to fill this gap. This is one of those moments where Apple is just doing the inverse of the market. We've seen this before, actually. Remember last earnings season when the market was actually rallying and Apple just kept dropping the whole time? So this just looks like a repeat of that, but in reverse. Apple can head towards this gap fill if it continues to be bullish while the market is dropping. I think if Apple starts to tank with the market, then that is a very, very bad sign. As you guys can see right now, we are pretty much mounted above this weekly supply and demand zone. We have an inverted candle here, so that is a bullish pattern. So I do expect Apple to continue to do the inverse of the market. Microsoft, yeah, I'm so upset that Microsoft is just tanking like this because this is one of my favorite stocks to play. Actually looking forward to playing it on, I don't know where everything went, but I'm actually looking forward to playing leaps on Microsoft. I do think Microsoft is undervalued. I think it deserves to be above 600. Analysts think the same thing as well. I'm just waiting on that opportunity. I definitely will alert to Discord when I'm going to jump back into leaps. Made about 3K off our last leap play. Microsoft is heading towards this trend right here, so maybe a bounce, but I will wait for the overall market to be bullish before I jump the gun here. But I told you guys Microsoft is going to head towards 400. Lowest I'm looking at is about 380. If we get down here in this area, and I'm just doing this pretty much live right now because everything disappeared off my charts, or as far as Microsoft, or maybe I deleted it. But if we get down here in this area, I would say below 360, 350 is very illiquid, and Microsoft can drop very, very, very fast. Okay, so be on the lookout for that. Let's look at the weekly time frame, make sure I didn't miss anything. As you guys can see, this trend is pretty much spot on. We bounced here, and right now we are at this trend currently at right now. And right now, if I had to guess a good buying opportunity for Microsoft, I would be looking at this 380, between 380, 360 range. I think will be a great buying opportunity. But it all depends on how the market looks, so don't jump the gun yet. Make sure the market matches the bullish sentiment. You want to wait till the market is bullish for a dip buy opportunity. All right, that's my opinion. Do what you want with that information. Amazon, I think Amazon is one of the stocks that is recession proof. So be on the lookout for this one. I'm honestly surprised Amazon just didn't just missed miserably on its earnings. I am genuinely genuinely surprised about that. But luckily, I didn't play it. Otherwise, I would have got absolutely crushed. But yeah, Amazon is heading towards this trend right here. At around. Let me actually try to figure out where this trend is at around 155, 150. I actually think that's a really good buying opportunity. 155 between 155 and 150. Um, yeah, I think that's an excellent buying opportunity. What I will say is that I'm going to make a video on buying opportunities. I know you guys liked the last video that I made, and it's been a while since I made a video like that, but there just wasn't any buying opportunities for me to make a video like that again. And everything in that video pretty much absolutely crushed. So congratulations if you followed anything in that video. So I am excited to make another one. So be on the lookout for that. It may happen this week. It may happen Sunday. We'll see. We'll see how things look. But that's pretty much all I had. Let's actually look at SOXL. So I told you guys in the last video, SOXL at $20 is an absolute buying opportunity. Between 25 and 20. Between 25 and 20. I think if SOXL can get to 25, 20, that is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful buying opportunity. Okay. So I do think it's going to head there. When is really up in the air. If we get this dead cat bounce to about 36, between 36 and 40, and then potentially reject from there, I do think SOXL will head to 25 at that point. SMH, so I didn't really take a look at SMH. I honest, wow, it dropped a lot. Whoa. So yeah, I didn't even notice this, but yeah, SMH I think is a beautiful buying opportunity at around 200, but we'll see. Right now there's a gap fill at around 212, 210, yeah, 212 range. So be on the lookout for that. But right now semiconductors look terrible. Tech in general just looks terrible. So hopefully you guys get the point here. I mean, everything looks terrible. It looks like everything wants to drop much further. There is a lot of There's a lot of puts and options chain as far as SPY. You got 520 puts. You got 510 puts. If I was to go further out and pick a price target for SPY, I think it could head to 504. But I'm not saying that's going to happen anytime soon. I'm just saying maybe by September. What I will say is this looks like we are anticipating a rate cut and the market is selling the news. And then once the rate cuts are announced, we might be bullish all over again. So that's just my opinion. It's all speculation. It's not guaranteed or anything like that, but do be on the lookout for that type of news and just watch how the market reacts. Other than that, that's all I have. Discord link is in the description below, guys. Our meta play right here, as you guys can see, 450 puts. I alerted this for next week. Made a nice little 133%, $600 off the play. If you want plays like this, Discord link is in the description below. Also, if you're new to the YouTube channel, here's our Tesla play. So you guys know I'm not making this up. Nice little 1700. Made this in like 24 hours, 163%. We did 220 puts at around 223, and it dropped since then. So yeah, Discord link is in the description below. If you want SMS messages, text messages sent directly to your phone of all my plays, that link is in the description below. Um, Check out the website. You get a free ebook. You get my newsletter every week on what I think is going to happen or targets as far as the market. And that's pretty much it. Other than that, that's all I have. Enjoy your weekend, traders. Have a good one.